Hi, my name's Kevin James. I'm joined by my good friend today, Corey Tilton. How you doing, Corey?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Got some tea in my throat to improve my podcasting voice. Yeah, if you're listening, this is a bit of a behind-the-scenes audio piece regarding the music video we put together for your single, Like a Kid That's Found His Dad's Gun.
Yep, off of the Telemarketers Terrorists EP.
You and I have made quite a few short films together over the years. This isn't even our first music video together.
No.
And when we make short films, when we make music videos, we always build up a bit of a library of interesting behind-the-scenes footage and photography. And what better way to kind of catalog that and archive that to the internet than with a YouTube upload of that footage with us talking behind it. And that's what this is going to be. Some insights behind making the video along with some visuals about that process. To start off, the song itself. When did you put the song together?
So I put the song together early 2023. I did everything myself in my studio. I sent it out to New Alliance East for mastering probably the summer of 2023, and I had final mixes done probably October, November 2023. And then me and Kevin just started talking about videos that we had done in the past. That was around the same time of year that a previous music video that we had worked on came out. We said, hey, would really like to do another one. And I think I sent Kevin the finished EP all mastered and said, is there anything here that catches your eye?
Yeah, and the song had like an operatic feel to it. It had like a shape to it. It had like cinematic ebbs and flows. And I also just liked the song a lot. So it made the most sense to do that one. We went back and forth on concepts of the video. You know, we make music videos and short films as a way to exercise new creative tools and not just repeat ourselves. And for this video, you kind of came to me with some broad stroke ideas about what the visual component of the video could be.
Yeah, originally, basically, I had an idea in my head if me and you didn't end up working on this together, that I'd buy a cheap bee costume, kind of like the old Blind Melon music video.
No Rain, right?
Yeah, and I would probably, find a warehouse, do some warehouse work in the bee costume, maybe have some like nightmares, do a lot of POV footage, some shaky cam, like GoPro crawling, trying to get out of boxes, wires, cables, that sort of thing, kind of like a nightmarish escape from work type of a music video.
When you threw that idea at me, my first instinct was to yes and level it up in any way I could. And I thought, why don't we make the bee a character in the video with you? So you could have a relationship on screen because, the act is a solo act. Mm-hmm. You don't have like other bandmates to act off of for this music video. And the bee could be a character. That's when we went back and forth. And okay, is the bee a puppet? Is the bee someone else in a costume? Is it also you in a costume? And I thought to myself, I've always wanted to do legitimate CGI characters. Like I've done some silly, intentionally low fidelity CGI work before, but this I wanted to be a step more sincere and earnest. So that kind of became the experimental factor of the video.
Right.
Like, okay, well, we know how this is done. We know how people do computer animated characters. So let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's actually do it. Let's go through the process and make this video. And, the lyrics to me to the song had a very, I guess it is a millennial centric POV about graduating into adulthood right now. And millennials are adults. They've been adults for a decade. The song reflected my thoughts on like the housing crisis facing our generation and the job market and just being told, no, you are a grown man or woman. You got to go out into the world and you got to stop sitting around and making nothing of yourself. But the world hasn't quite provided those tools. And almost kind of like a meditation on being a townie, if that makes any sense. That's kind of what the song said to me. And I thought the bee idea played really well into that.
Yeah, when people have asked me to, describe, what the album or what the song means to me, I typically kind of jokingly say it's about expectations, responsibilities, and the overwhelming feeling of existential dread that accompanies.
Yeah.
So it's this being trapped in a situation, whether it's mentally, physically, financially, that you not only can't escape, maybe you almost subconsciously don't feel like you are ready to escape yet.
Sure.
So yeah.
And having a drone bee as your buddy in the video
Yeah.
played great. Having it be a certain time of year when bees die and having a rotting beehive, like all that imagery.
Yeah.
There were definitely sessions where I sat down with a pen and paper and I made like, thought bubbles, and I just thought like, okay, like clearly there's some complementary themes here that we can get some fun visuals out of, because frankly, music videos are all about the cool visuals.
Right.
It was more measured than our previous music video work together we had done, where, those were explicitly, we're going to shoot a bunch of cool footage with a 3-act structure of sorts, where like we changed gears twice for the From the Streets to the Gardens music video we made a couple years earlier.
Yeah, we spent about I think it was 3 days in total where we locked ourselves in my live room at my studio at my house.
Turned on a bunch of smoke machines.
During COVID, we filled the room with smoke, lasers, cool colored lights, and because it's a pretty long, that was a pretty long song.
It's like a 7.5 minute song.
Yeah. So
this was a bit more, we could experiment and have fun, but we, by virtue of it being CGI dependent, we didn't want to make way more work for ourselves than we had to. That being said, we wrote out collaboratively like a storyline for the video of sorts, like, okay, where are we at 30 seconds into the song? Where are we at 60 seconds in, etc. We knew going into filming, this is going to be about 50 VFX shots very fast. We didn't want to be like, we didn't want to repeat anything. We didn't want to like have like a stock feel to the video. We wanted to have fun making the special effects, frankly. We knew we had to make 3 edits of the video.
Right.
We had to make a version of the video that was just the background footage, which is the backgrounds behind you and the bee prior to compositing.
Right.
So you and I got together a few times and just shot a ton of footage on a gimbal.
Yeah, we shot in the early winter or late winter, I guess, January, February, March, April of 2023 throughout your backyard, a few parks in Kingston, Pembroke.
Yeah, all over the South Shore, baseball fields, on the waterfront in Duxbury. We wanted to feel like the precipice of autumn, even though it was months after that. But yeah, we shot. We decided early on not to go with drone photography, even though that would have been much easier and probably a little more scenic and showy.
We wanted this to have more of a retro, kind of that 80s manic vibe, and I feel like the drone footage kind of dates things in the now.
Yes.
Whereas
too smooth, too produced, too clean.
Right, exactly.
And you could make drone stuff look nuts in post for sure. But we did some quick camera tests where we took a full frame. We shot this on a Sony A7 Mark IV with the Tamron 17-28 for the plates. I think that was almost exclusively what we used for the background plates. We play with the stabilizer settings. We would have the camera stabilizing. We would have just the gimbal stabilizing. We needed to be the right amount of jittery. I think an influence for that was probably the REM video for It's the End of the World as We Know It. Not that has flying footage, but there is kind of like a hasty,
definitely.
The day's going to end soon vibe to that video that I've always loved. And I wanted to carry some of that into this one. And also, you and I both, all the visual influence of this came from movies made in the 70s and 80s. All of it, Never Ending Story stuff was a big.
Oh, yeah.
There's a shot in the video of you flying through Bay Farm Field in Duxbury that is like Falcor to a T. Like that, it's clearly what we're going for. So yeah, that first edit of the 3 was just the background plates.
Yep.
So we could figure out our timing and figure out our workload going forward. Because at that point we knew for sure, okay, we need to get a shot of Corey flying in here, and here. These are the angles. This is what he needs to be doing. These are the shots he doesn't need to be on screen. Because editing wise, frankly, it'd be boring to see you in every single shot. You have to get you off camera every now and then. And once we had that edit, we brought in my friend Joey VFX because we needed him to consult.
Yeah. We had, you had reached out to Joey. It was honestly, I think it was days after we decided in 2023 that we were going to do the video.
Yeah.
Just to see, because at one time I was thinking about, maybe I make a puppet for this. Maybe I do some sort of, something on a string or something on a rod.
Stop motion animation. Like there's all these cool ways we could do the bee.
And you were like, hold on, I know a guy. Let me see if he'd be down for this. And he, right off the bat, was down for it.
Yeah.
So I think it was early January we had shot a couple of test shots on the the green screen bee that I made. It was a sawhorse with a big green trash barrel that I painted.
Yep.
With a horse saddle. And we shot a day worth of that. We sent it to Joey, and then Joey sent us a whole bunch of stuff, and we said
basically
okay.
what he could produce in a day.
And we said perfect. We're gonna take what we know now, the limitations that we know we have, and the freedom we know we have. And then we did, I think it was 3 or 4 days of actual green screen footage, green screen shots. Yeah.
Yeah, because at that point we had a complete cut of the video that was just background plates and the song with no Corey in it and no B in it. So at that point, we made a shot list of every single shot, every single angle, and the ideal perspective and lenses to use. And we sat down with a chart in the garage in my home studio. And we had you obviously on green screen, sitting on the sawhorses, your big green screen bee that would force your legs akimbo so we could put the bee in later. So there, your legs weren't going to be clipping through it.
Yep.
I don't know how stable it is from like a side to side. Fine.
Yeah. We made a list of, okay, here's every single shot where we see Corey from the back. Here's every profile shot of Corey. Here's every shot where you would really only see Corey's legs, etc. And we'd kind of batch everything together, and we would shoot every similar angle in one go just to be efficient. We hooked up a real basic video mixer. I think it's like a Live Pro L1. I don't have it anymore, but it has a super rudimentary chroma key hardware effect that very similar to like a weather man, like a meteorologist would use in like your local news affiliate, like a cheap news affiliate, where we could see in real time on a television screen in my studio, in my garage, Corey crudely green screened onto the shot we were doing effects for in the music video.
Yeah.
And we could kind of eyeball if the angle felt right, if the lighting felt right, because we had lights in the studio we were repositioning to try and match the sunlight in the background plate. So you kind of belonged in the shot.
Yeah, and we'd figure out which direction we had to have we had a leaf blower, electric leaf blower, or 2 electric leaf blowers.
Leaf blowers, just like a box fan.
Yeah. And like you said, just try to, as perfectly, kind of the way things had to have been done back in the 70s and the 80s, we had to match the shot exactly, imagining we weren't going to be able to do super tricky.
Well, we wanted that feeling. We wanted it to look almost rear projected.
Right, exactly.
Tangible.
Yeah, a little bit more authentic, a little bit more like you could touch it.
It didn't have to look expensive. It just had to look like warm and to the touch. That was the second edit of the video we produced, which was we now had, because we had shot all of the green screen shots of you, matching the perspective as best we could to the background plates. We now had a second edit of the video that was you and the background plates matched. So then we took that edit and we went to Joey, who was going to be handling exclusively the bee animation.
Right.
I think it was a little more than 50 VFX shots.
Yeah, I think it was either like 51 or 52, yeah.
Yeah, I went to Joey and I go, okay, I have 10 shots where I'm going to see the bee in stark profile. I don't know if that's correct, but like 90, more or less 90 degrees perpendicular to its face. Could you give me an animation, like a take of the bee from this POV? He would do as such. He produced like a few options of each angle with like varying lights to match what was happening in the scene. Mm-hmm. And then he would give me the assets back I needed, and I would do my compositing work to take his animation work and not only put the bee in there, but try and like color correct either the bee or the background to look like it belonged, like maybe fake shadows here and there, or add some motion blur, try to match the scale. Because if the camera was moving in a way relative to the bee, where the bee maybe was supposed to get bigger or smaller, I would have to do some stuff. That was just all After Effects. That was the last stage of that, which was to produce the third and final edit, was the compositing, putting the bee in there with you.
Yeah, and similarly to the more tangible vibe we were going to, I was ecstatic when the VFX shots from Joey started coming back, and the bee had a very rubbery 80s look to it. You can tell it's CGI or it's VFX, but it still had a retro
big puppet
look and vibe to it, which I absolutely adore.
There was a few shots Joey put some extra TLC into. There's the one where it's very, I think, Return of the Jedi, where you're flying through the woods coming at the camera. Mm-hmm. The bee's kind of fishtailing left and right, and you can see a reflection of the forest in the bee's face, like
Yep.
very, very faint, like kind of faintly, mapped on there, reflection map, I guess you'd call it. Joey did some solids. He did that. He did a really cool lighting match later in the video when you're flying past a ladder where he made it look like the sunlight popped on the bee right when it would, like things like that. And all that stuff was a really fun technical exercise to see.
Sure.
Now we know how this is done. It was fun to walk that walk and see like this is how it would be done. And I feel like most movies don't even have 50 VF. I mean, back when we were kids, like
Right.
there wouldn't be 50 CGI shots. There'd be like 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it really is. And again, I've shown people this, and it looks like people say, wow, this is an insane amount of work. I can't believe like 2 of you did all of this. But I really think it was just thinking about it methodically.
Yeah.
Like you said, like we made a full edit of background plates.
Yeah.
And then we just had me on a green screen, and we looked at a 42-inch monitor in your studio and said, let's make sure that we're lighting this correctly. Let's make sure we're blowing the breeze correctly. Let's the right camera lenses on, and just put in the time to make it look right.
A lot of it's accepting the spine you already have pre-established. The pre-established metronome of a song for a music video is kind of the best part of a music video, in that
Right.
you know exactly how long it's supposed to be. You know what the act structure is, assuming it's a traditional song with like a chorus and bridges and things like that. And with this, you kind of just extrapolate that intelligent process. You're like, okay, well, if we know we have to follow the song, then the effects have to follow this background plate structure. And assuming that you kind of translate all of those ingredients from A to B to C, there's not a lot of guesswork, assuming that you're making clever, creative decisions. You're given all the ingredients. You just have to cook it the way you want to cook it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so-
And I think we both had a handful of shots that we like really, really wanted to make sure were in there. You had a specific shot that was very much from the original Superman movie that you were like, I want something that looks, I want this angle, this shot.
It's my favorite shot in the first Superman movie. Yeah. There's a shot of Chris Reeve flying around a mountain looking for Margot Kidder's Lois Lane, and it's when he realizes that she's been in an earthquake. What a great accomplishment from Richard Donner. The emotional hit of this guy seeing a woman he loves passing away. It's happening during a VFX shot, but nothing is lost emotionally. Like the actor is screaming across the camera to you, even with all the crazy effects going on. That's a huge accomplishment for 1978. And I thought, hey, I just like that shot. I wanted to do a testament to it.
Yeah.
I was real happy about that. I didn't have to storyboard it. I just do this shot. Is there any fun Easter eggs you want to bring up just about the making of the video? Like there's some Photoshop work we did in the video to make the leaves look more like, a lot of the leaves in the background aren't real. Like they're just Photoshopped in later. We had bags of fake red and orange and green leaves, and we were kind of conservative about using them because picking them up was frankly a pain in the neck when the wind would kick up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I come out as the lawnmower man, when I come out as the leaf blower man, there was a scene always in my head from King of the Hill where Dale is hunting Chuck Mangione. I can't remember why, but he's in his full exterminator outfit, and he comes around a corner and he's like spraying, and I just loved the look of it. So I kind of idolize, or I went for that costume aesthetic and that look when I was all dressed up in the leaf blower. And there's obviously a little bit of Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from
Sure.
Ghostbusters in there as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of intense roto work done around that part of the video, just because we wanted the video to keep escalating. Like if people, frankly, the fact that it was like a 2.5 minute song, something like that. Like
it's short. It's a short one for me.
There's really kind of creatively, we knew there was no excuse not to like every 15 seconds we need to have something new to look at, something new to hang your hat on to keep people excited.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of Evil Dead, a couple of Army of Darkness. When there's the mini ashes, some of that stuff is definitely in there.
Right.
You did some great running through the woods that really has that Evil Dead 2 look to it that I absolutely adore.
Yeah, we could have taken a 2x4. I think that's how they did that for that movie, the original Evil Dead. They took a 2x4 and they just put like a couple bolts through it, and they put a camera in the middle, had 2 people just run through the woods over and under like branches and
Love
stuff.
it.
Yeah, but that's how we made the video. That's what the video is about. Yeah, thank you for listening. I hope you had fun watching the behind the scenes footage. It's always kind of selfishly a pursuit to just, archive this stuff in a way where it's going to be available forever. And yeah, you can see some of the behind the scenes process and find that fun.
Yeah. So thank you very much for watching and listening.